What if the version of you that exists online is slowly replacing the version of you that exists in real life? Not just influencing it, but quietly rewriting it. We are not talking about harmless selfies or casual scrolling. We are talking about deep neurological and psychological shifts that are happening every single day, often without your awareness. Right now, your digital self may be shaping how you think, what you value, who you become, and even how you experience reality itself. By the end of this video, you might start questioning where the real you actually lives. Stop scrolling for a second. Because here is something most people never realize. Every post you upload, every like you give, every moment you choose to share is not just an action. It is a training signal. A signal that tells your brain what matters, what gets rewarded, and what version of you deserves attention. Over time, these signals stack up. And slowly, subtly, your brain begins to adapt. This is not speculation. This is neuroscience. Social media is not just influencing your identity, it is actively reshaping it. Let us start with the curated illusion. The digital world rewards perfection, clarity, and consistency. You are encouraged to present a version of yourself that is confident, productive, attractive, happy, and socially validated. But real life is messy. Real life is contradictory, and real identity is fluid. The problem begins when the gap between who you are and who you present becomes too wide. Maintaining a polished digital persona requires constant monitoring, constant comparison, and constant self-editing. Over time, this creates anxiety, imposter syndrome, and emotional exhaustion. You are no longer just living your life, you are managing a brand. This is why phenomena like Finstas and Rinstas exist. One account for the world, one account for the truth. One self that performs, one self that breathes. But even this separation does not solve the problem, because the brain does not fully distinguish between the performed self and the authentic self. The more time and energy you invest into the curated version, the more dominant it becomes. Eventually, the performance starts to feel more real than the person behind it. Now let us talk about validation, because this is where the real rewiring happens. Likes, comments, shares, and views trigger dopamine release in the brain. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical, it is the anticipation chemical. It trains you to repeat behaviors that lead to rewards. Social media platforms are engineered around this loop. Post, wait, anticipate, receive validation, repeat. Over time, your brain begins to associate self-worth with external feedback. Instead of asking, "Does this feel meaningful to me?" the question becomes, "Will this perform well?" This is the shift from intrinsic identity to external identity. Your sense of self slowly migrates from internal values to external metrics. And the danger here is subtle, because the absence of validation starts to feel like rejection. Silence feels like failure, and your identity becomes fragile, constantly dependent on feedback you do not control. As this cycle deepens, the digital self begins to bleed into real-world decisions. You choose experiences based on how shareable they are. You filter moments instead of fully living them. Spontaneity gives way to documentation. Presence gives way to performance. Even emotions are optimized. You smile for the photo. You edit the caption. You crop the discomfort out of the frame. Slowly, life stops being something you experience and starts becoming something you produce. At the same time, algorithms are shaping what you see, who you interact with, and which parts of yourself get reinforced. Hyper-personalization feels convenient, but it comes at a cost. You are shown content that confirms your existing beliefs, rewards your current identity, and minimizes exposure to discomfort or contradiction. This creates echo chambers, not just of opinions, but of identity. You are encouraged to become more of who the algorithm thinks you are. This is where identity fragmentation begins. Online communities can offer belonging, but they can also narrow self-expression. When identity becomes tied to a group, a label, or an ideology,
Deviation feels dangerous. Mistakes feel permanent. Growth feels risky. Cancel culture thrives in this environment not because people want to destroy others, but because the cost of being wrong online feels catastrophic. As a result, people self-censor, flatten their complexity, and suppress parts of themselves that do not fit the approved narrative. Offline relationships suffer. Real-world connections feel slower, messier, and less predictable than digital interactions. And so, the digital self becomes the dominant self, curated, validated, reinforced, but also fragile, because it is constantly under observation.
So how do you reclaim your authentic self in a world that profits from your attention and performance? The answer is not deleting everything and disappearing. It starts with awareness, conscious disengagement, setting boundaries not just around screen time, but around identity. Asking yourself why you post, not just what you post. Separating expression from validation. It means reconnecting with intrinsic values, doing things that matter even when no one sees them, building skills, relationships, and experiences that exist outside of metrics, letting yourself be inconsistent, unfinished, and unoptimized. Because real identity is not a brand, it is a process. Offline relationships become crucial here. They ground you. They reflect you without filters or algorithms. They remind you that you are more than content, more than engagement, more than a digital footprint. In an increasingly virtual world, presence becomes a radical act. The digital self is not inherently bad. It is a tool. But when the tool becomes the mirror, and the mirror becomes the judge, identity suffers. The goal is not to reject the digital world, but to stop outsourcing your sense of self to it. Because the real question is not who you are online. The real question is who you are when no one is watching, and whether that version of you still feels real. If this made you rethink how social media is shaping you, take a moment to reflect before scrolling again. And if you want more deep dives like this into the hidden psychology behind modern life, don't forget to subscribe.